everyone, welcome back to That's So Random. I'm Erin. And so my graduation is actually coming up in 2 weeks. So I decided, my graduation from university is coming up in 2 weeks. So I decided I was gonna make my own graduation dress. And really into like Taylor Swift music, red carpet looks. So I figured, why not make one of her red carpet dresses? I actually polled all my friends to see like what color my dress should be, and like, so they chose black. So it's gonna be black, a black dress. Sorry, my mom has cats, so I'm like super itchy and like allergic to her cats, and I love them so much. So black dress, and then I gave them 3 options and they chose this option. So I'm making this dress. It's a little different than what's here because I went off of my own thoughts on it, and so it's not exactly the same, but the idea is the same. So I'm using, let me go get that. I am using starting from the inside, I'm using this as a lining. So it's not super see-through, but and you'll see why I chose this as a lining. Plus it's stretchy like the fabric I'm using. So this is the as you can see, it's super see-through and sheer. And you can't see it, but it's super sparkly. Put it in the light. No, you can't. I don't think you can. Let's see if I get closer. Yeah. So you can kind of see how like it's sparkly. So that's the outside fabric. And yeah, so let's get into how I made this dress. Okay, here are the pattern pieces for the dress. They have been altered a few times, especially the one down here has been altered to fit the fact that my waist is a little smaller than my hips. Originally I wanted this back piece and this piece to be together and only attached in the front, but with everything it doesn't work like that. So I have my 2 pieces that go like an apron, front and back. The front piece with the dart to curve over, and then all the greeting for that. So I'm going to cut this out in the lining first and make sure that fits before I get into the fun fabric, because I don't want to have to go get that fabric. It's more expensive. So let's get into that part. So thanks to the helpful tip of the Blueprint DIYer, she said, especially with dark fabrics, you can use soap to figure out where you want, because I didn't add seam allowance. So now I have seam allowance, so now we're going to cut this up and pin it together because of the way I want to intertwine it with the other one. I want to make sure that fits. So right. First I want to say for the side lower piece, it is not supposed to dip, it's supposed to be straight. So just a heads up. I put the lining pieces pattern on top of the fashion fabric to cut out it easier. Yeah, so we're gonna cut it out and then we'll start stitching this together. First thing I'm doing is I am sewing the darts for the top pieces. I sew the darts for the lining and sew the darts for the outside fabric. Make sure you do it in a way that you have the same the darts going together. I accidentally had one for the lining piece. The dart was in the wrong direction, so it actually does not sit inside itself, it sits on the outside. What is this piece? So see, I think this is the side. What was I doing here? Oh, I know what I'm doing. I am now sandwiching the top lining and the top fashion to so I can turn it inside out and have a clean seam. It definitely rippled a lot more than it should have, even though I had a ballpoint needle, so brand new. I'm assuming my tension was wrong. What am I doing there? I am sewing something. Okay, I was sewing the shoulder seams. Now I'm sewing the front and back pieces. I'm doing it in a way to be able to pull it out and have it be more, have the edges be on the inside. I have a pattern that shows me how to do this, so you can see now that I'm taking the back and I'm feeding the front through it, essentially. So now that that's all, I'm now taking the parts that I didn't sew when I sewed it together, and I'm putting those together to have everything be on the inside. And for this, I go down the whole length of the sides of the dress. I do everything but the back. So now what I'm doing is I am starting in the middle of the lower side pieces and going up to the corner and then pivoting. Like I said before, this should have been straight across, and it would have been a lot easier too. I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, yeah, it's curved, you know. No, it was not. So that's what I do. I start in the middle of the top and I seam it part way down the side, and then I start then I flip it to the other middle, flip it back to the middle and do the other side. So cutting, of course, the corners as close as possible to where I had sewn so I can get nice points. And then after I did that, I'm going down the rest of the side. I don't know why I did it that way, but that's what I did. I think I was trying to keep it from stretching too much, but it stretched. So this is the front panel that goes down the front of the dress. And if you look, the outside fabric is longer than the lining. And if you remember, I used the lining to cut out this, but this has stretched. And it reminds me of what Annika Victoria said about stretch fabrics not being the same stretch. It's essentially what this happened. I did not realize, I guess this one is a 4-way stretch, so it stretched itself out, it looks like, because I had this lined up. So yeah, all my pieces are a little bit longer, but it's okay, because I'll be honest, I was worried about having the dress too short and not having enough to hem it and make it, so essentially not having it long enough to shorten it, and having it too short and not having anything covering, essentially. So yeah. Now that these pieces, the side pieces, so the side lower half for the hip and the breast part, are sewn to their linings, I need to stop stitch on the top of these ones and teach this top stitch the top and bottom of these ones, because I don't have to do the sides for these, because when they get attached to the front and back, I will be top stitching on that, and that will do that. So I'm gonna go and we're gonna top stitch. So here I am actually top stitching. top stitching the upper bust area of the cover side piece. Here is the front, and it's pinned, so all I have to do is take it to the machine and top stitch it. I'm going to start at the shoulder seams up here, and then I will pin the back, and then we'll top stitch the back. So here comes the top stitching, more top stitching, but also attaching the side pieces to the front. Which of course was a lot harder than I expected it to be. But I wanted to have a stretchy dress, so So I forgot to film before I actually did it. I basted stitched the oh, let's go where my hand is. I base stitched here just on the outside fabric, and then actually stitched with a zigzag stitch down here for my zipper. And I'm going to insert the zipper, and once I insert the zipper, then I will attach the lining to the zipper, and it will look all nice and pretty. Again, if I can just make sure I have it on the spot. So I'm going to do that, and yep. I'm going to start off by saying I have no clue if I'm doing this right, because it's been so long, and I looked up a video, but it wasn't what I remembered, so I'm just doing it the way I'm going to do it, which I think is the way I learned from another video. But so since I sewed up this with a basting stitch, and then I basted in the thing to have no pins, I'm just going to hope that what I'm doing is correct. So let's get started. And I will say I did not put in the zipper right because it is a little wonky. Yeah, I just didn't do it right. But I know for next time, and I was not gonna seam rip it out and try and do it again, so. So what I'm doing is I am taking the lining, and I'm actually rolling it around the dress to get, how do I explain this? I'm rolling it around to get it to line up with the side of the zipper it needs to be on. So it's literally, if I put another pin in, you can see how it's kind of like folded, because I'm, like I said, I'm taking the lining, and so it's starting back here over on this side, and I'm wrapping it to meet up with this side, so it's like a little burrito. So I'm just gonna stick a pin there so I don't lose my spot, even though it's probably not the right spot that it needs to be together, but I just wanna burrito this together. And I'm only gonna go down to the base of the zipper, and then I'm thinking of keeping it separate from the rest of the what am I trying to say? From the rest of this fabric, so then the lining is its own. So yep, so I'm gonna do that.
So here's the open end. I'm gonna pull this out. So what I'm going to say is I did make a mistake while I was sewing and broke my needle. I had, so there you can see how the lining is somewhat attached. Not fully to the zipper now. We had some little mishaps here and there of, so I didn't lock down the presser foot like I thought I did, and I stabbed it with my needle and broke the needle. So I know for when I go to do this side, it'll hopefully be better, and because that's essentially the area that I broke the needle because I did not put anything down right. So now I'm gonna probably have to have like a little hook and eye there because I messed up and didn't put this up higher. But yeah, I'm gonna do the other side, and then I will also top stitch the neckline once I'm finished doing the same thing to this side. There's my dress that I made, and photos that I took also with it on for graduation and stuff like that. And yeah, so this definitely will not be the first Taylor Swift inspired dress that I make this year. So if you want to see the next one, stick around and subscribe or hit the like. So yeah, till next time.